The nesting ground. They weren't supposed to be there, not just in the woods. There, in that part of the forest, the maps didn't label. No trails, no markers, no satellite imagery. So when the screaming started echoing through the trees, no one would ever know where to find them. They called it a dead zone. It was a wedge of wild forest, buried deep in the Appalachian Mountains, untouched by trail crews, hunters, or even rescue teams. Locals whispered about it, usually around fires or over drinks, about hikers who went in and didn't come out. Compasses that spun, animals that wouldn't cross its edge. But to Eric, that meant opportunity. "Think about it," he said for the 10th time. "We could be the first to document this place. People chase clout on Instagram for taking selfies on marked trails. Imagine what we'll find off-grid." Rena adjusted the strap on her pack and gave him a long look. "Yeah, or we find a cliff and fall off it. I brought 3 GPS units and an emergency beacon," Eric said. "We're not idiots." Mike grinned from the passenger seat, GoPro already clipped to his vest. "Relax, Ren. Worst case, we get a ton of B-roll, a couple thousand views, and go home smelling like raccoon piss." "Worst case," Rena muttered. "We don't go home at all." They reached the edge of the dead zone just after dawn. No clear marker, just a shift in atmosphere. The air grew colder, heavier. Trees leaned closer, their trunks blackened with moss and lichen that didn't belong. There were no birds, no squirrel chatter, just the sound of boots crunching leaves and distant wind like breathing through teeth. "Feels like walking into a cathedral," Eric said softly. "A forest older than time." The first mile was slow. They climbed steep slopes, squeezed through twisted undergrowth, waded through a creek that stank of minerals and rot. The path they were on, if it could be called that, looked like a game trail at best, but even that faded as they climbed. That's when Mike spotted it. A broken tree, snapped 6 feet off the ground. Not weather damage, too clean. "There's more," he said, pointing. "Look at these claw marks." Deep gouges raked through the bark, the wood below freshly exposed. Eric crouched beside them. "This isn't bare. These are wide." "Fingers?" "Claws," Rena corrected. "Something tall. Maybe moose? No, not this far south." The forest changed as they followed the signs. At first, it was little things. More hair on branches, a strange musk in the air, twisted piles of stone that looked almost deliberate. Then the undergrowth vanished completely, the ground scraped smooth. The trees leaned back as if something massive had repeatedly brushed through. They had found a path, and it was massive. Branches were torn from 8 feet up. Deep prints, some resembling huge feet, others knuckled fists, lined the trail, almost like a parade of giants had passed through again and again. "We're not alone out here," Mike muttered. Rena had stopped. "Wait, smell that?" A pungent odor hung in the air, musky, sweet, and putrid all at once. The scent of wet fur, decay, and something else. Something living. "Keep your voice down," she said. "This isn't right." Eric turned to her with a wide grin. "Ren, you're always saying you want real wilderness. Well, this is it. This is prehistory." They found the nests around noon, a wide clearing, half shadowed by towering pines, filled with grotesque structures. Each was a mound of branches, logs, and bones woven together like massive bird nests. Some rose 10 feet high. Others were half sunk into the earth, partially hidden under thick moss and brush. Flies buzzed thick around the piles. The air was worse here, hot and sour. Eric stared, breathless. Oh my God. Rena stepped closer to the nearest one. Bones jutted from the outer edges, some animal, but others clearly human. "Don't touch anything," she whispered. Mike circled the clearing, filming. "Guys, they're recent. Look, this one's still got fresh blood on it." That was when they heard the first sound. A deep, rhythmic thumping. Boom, boom, boom. It was far off, like a heartbeat in the trees. But it was getting closer. Another sound followed, a rough, wet exhale. Not quite a growl. More like breathing. They turned slowly. One of the trees moved. No, something beside it moved. The creature stepped forward from the tree line. Massive, covered in tangled black fur. At first it looked like a gorilla, but taller, leaner. The arms were longer, swinging low past its knees. Its face, sunken, leathery, wrinkled, was not animal. Its eyes were wide, intelligent, not human, but close enough to be wrong. Then another came into view, and another. 3, all massive, each subtly different. One was older with patches of gray, one younger, its build lankier. A family. Rena's breath hitched. "We need to leave. Slowly. Back away." "No sudden moves," Eric said, raising his hands. Mike lifted his camera. The alpha snorted and slammed its hand against a tree, cracking bark. That's when it charged. They ran. Mike veered uphill, GoPro flailing. Eric and Rena bolted down the slope, ducking branches, stumbling over roots. Behind them, trees exploded in motion, branches cracking, heavy thuds shaking the ground. "They're flanking us," Rena screamed. She wasn't wrong. She could hear the movement splitting, one crashing behind them, another to the side. Mike's scream echoed across the valley, then cut off. "Keep running," Eric barked. Rena tripped on a rock, landing hard. Eric dragged her up by her pack. "Go!" They burst into a ravine and clambered down the slope, scraping hands and shins on jagged stone. At the bottom, they slid into a stream thick with mud. Behind them, silence. Then, one footstep, then another. Something was following them. "I think we lost," Eric started, but stopped. They'd stumbled into another clearing. This one was smaller, tighter, and it wasn't empty. A nest, larger than the others, sat in the center. Inside, something moving. Rena stepped closer despite herself. Then it raised its head. A juvenile, covered in dark fur, lanky, small, but its eyes, those same eerily intelligent eyes. It stared back at her, not afraid, just watching. Then it let out a soft click-click sound. In the trees, something answered. "Nope," Eric hissed. "Nope, move." They turned to run. But the alpha was waiting. It stepped from the trees just ahead, teeth bared, claws dripping with something black. Eric raised his hiking pole like a weapon and screamed. Rena ran. She ran until her lungs burned, then ran further. The forest closed in. The trail disappeared. All she could hear was her heartbeat and the distant, horrible clicking. Then she stumbled and went down hard, rolling into a ditch. She lay there, curled tight, some blood in her mouth. The woods grew quiet again, and she waited. For hours. When she opened her eyes, the sun had dipped below the trees. Rena wandered in a haze. The forest blurred into shapes and color. She screamed for Eric, for Mike, for anyone. Her throat went raw. Eventually, she found Mike's camera harness. It was torn and hanging from a pole jammed into the earth. Beneath it, blood, a wide drag mark, animal bones stacked in a spiral. She followed the trail. It led to a pit. At first she thought it was a den, but then she saw the spikes. Carved wood arranged in a circle, some already stained red. A trap. She turned to back away. The ground gave out beneath her. She landed hard. Agony shot through her leg. Something cracked. Her vision blackened for a second. Above her, light streamed down. She tried to stand, but couldn't. Her ankle twisted unnaturally. Her calf had a deep puncture. Blood poured freely. Then she heard a shuffle above. Something leaned over the edge. A child. Its small face blinked slowly, wide eyes staring. Then two more joined it. They weren't scared of her. They were studying her. Rena screamed for help. The forest didn't answer. 3 weeks later, rescue crews scoured the area after Rena's brother reported her missing. They found the jeep. Her trail led deep into the dead zone. They recovered one torn boot and Eric's broken compass. But no bodies, no gear. Just a torn scrap of paper caught on a low branch. One word scribbled in red marker: Nesting. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my stories. It truly means a lot. If you enjoyed this one, please consider liking the video, following, and subscribing for more. Every bit of support helps.